go again?
What do you want me to do?
Hit me.
You're a 15-year-old.
Oh.
What the hell?
Act like a bitch, get slapped like a bitch.
Oh, God.
Oh, take your tampon out, Dave.
They may wear costumes, but it isn't Halloween. They're real-life superheroes.
Now, the first Kick-Ass showed us that it's hard work being a superhero. It's nearly fucking impossible. You know, you go out, you're going to get the shit kicked out of you. You're going to get beaten on, nearly killed, probably killed, in fact. You know, there's a reason superheroes don't exist in the real world. But we're back anyway with with this cast of characters to do Kick-Ass 2 because you can't keep a good person down, a good hero down.
No, he may have put his costume in the box, but he's bored. Classic superhero fare. Even Bruce Wayne, you know, put down his walking stick and got back in the Batmobile.
Yeah, so, you know, we've got Kick-Ass 2 here. Now, Kick-Ass 2 is actually an adaptation of both the comic series Kick-Ass 2 and the spin-off series Hit Girl, because Hit Girl proved such a fucking hit herself. Yeah. Her name's adequate her name's kind of relevant in two sense of the words.
Yes, I suppose.
So yeah, we've got a kind of adaptation of two books in this movie, and as you said, the film opens up with Dave God, how do you pronounce it? Lazowski. God damn. Dave Lazowski is now kind of hung up his not his cape, but his cowl. He's no longer actively going out as Kick-Ass, but he's inspired everybody around him. There's now superheroes doing patrols all over the place. You know, on top of him kind of living a normal life, now getting back to normal, you've got Minnie McCready, who's Hit Girl, played by the fabulous Chloe Moretz. And she's now living with her stepfather, Marcus, who was, you know, Big Daddy, her father, her real father. It was his partner. And he's taken her in, and she's trying to live the life of a normal teenage girl. But she's fucking had enough. Whereas Kick-Ass has hung up his cowl, she's not. She bunks off school every day. She goes and trains in, like, a secret hideout because she still wants to be a superhero. And the early stage of the film is that he's bored, you know, he's sick of seeing other people kind of be inspired by him and not go all about himself, but he realizes he's not really up to much, so he needs a bit of help. So he approaches Mindy and asks her to kind of train him, really.
Yeah, and they go, that's the bits that you see in the trailer where they're fighting she tells him to punch her.
Yeah.
But annoyingly, that line where she tells him to take his tampon out wasn't in the film.
No, I thought that was a lot of the case in this film. There was a lot of lines from the trailer that was taken out of the actual film.
There's a lot of lines in some trailers that were different to other trailers as well that I noticed. So I think there must have been a lot of cuts of this film.
Yeah, but, all multiple versions of scenes and.
So either way, he gets trained up a bit. He gets a bit better.
Yeah, but it's kind of like quite early on in the film. It's almost a bit of a shift between Kick-Ass and Hit Girl, whereas Kick-Ass is starting to train, get better. Hit Girl is kind of pulled out of the superhero business by her stepfather, who basically says, "Look, you know, do it for me, do it for you know, your father. Try and be a normal girl." He, you know, Big Daddy Nicolas Cage from the first film. He, you know, stole your childhood. He was, you know, he was crazy. Big Daddy wasn't the guy I knew, and the guy I knew wanted to live a normal life with me looking after you. So she's basically kind of almost guilted into trying to live an everyday life, whereas Dave Lewis, oh God, you know, I'm just going to call him Kick-Ass from now on. You know what? It's ridiculous. I can see it any other time. It's just as soon as we fucking start recording. So Kick-Ass has. He's actually going the other way. He's actually becoming more active. In fact, he starts teaming up with other superheroes like Dr. Gravity,
played by Turk.
Yeah, played by Turk from Scrubs, Donald Faison. And I was sitting through the film going, "Is that Black Scrubs?" Yeah, it was Black Scrubs. But yeah, he starts teaming with Dr. Gravity, and then they kind of go. Dr. Gravity introduces him to Justice Forever, which is kind of like a junkyard version of the Avengers.
Yeah, it's great. It's like some of the people in this group are just so not the sort of superhero that he was trying to be. Like the Remembering Steve duo.
Yes.
It's like this lovely family, probably from like Long Island or something. And they go after work on a like Wednesday.
Yeah, their son was murdered or something, and they basically, you know, dress up as superheroes and do patrols and community service to help people in memory of him. And then you've got Battle Guy, who is actually his friend Marty from the
Yeah.
first one, played by Clark Duke.
I love Clark too.
I love Clark Duke as well. Hot Tub Time Machine, man. He's really good.
So
And-
glad they expanded his role in this one.
Yeah, I was actually happy, and he's kind of like a shitty version of Captain America. He wears like stars, like the blue and the blue costume with white stars, and he's got a shield, and he's like a really shitty version of Captain America.
And then you've got the leader, who I assumed was going to be the shitty Captain America because he's called Colonel Stars and Stripes, which to me was like he's outranking Captain America, but he's nothing like him.
No, so yeah, you've got Jim Carrey as Colonel Stars and Stripes, and he is pretty much fucking unrecognizable.
Yeah, he really is.
He's so good in this film. He plays Colonel Stars and Stripes, who is actually an ex-mafia like enforcer turned born again Christian and wants to do good in the world.
Superhero.
So yeah, he basically founds this Justice Forever group, and
They actually do a lot of good.
yeah,
They really do. Like Kick-Ass doesn't really do much up until, he gets beaten up. He makes a stand, but he keeps getting beaten up. He gets stabbed. He gets Big Daddy killed. He doesn't really do much. Whereas these guys, actually, they do go out and pour soup in a soup kitchen, but then they do go out and break up prostitution rings.
yeah, they do start actually tackling some hardened criminals. I mean, there's one sequence where they go and take down a kind of illegal poker game run by this triad who traffics underage girls or illegal immigrants for prostitutes, and you kind of see that Colonel Stars and Stripes, with him being an ex-enforcer for the mob, he has a bit more experience in this type of thing than the younger ones, and he just goes in and just fucking wails on people. And mind, they all hold their own.
Yeah, that's what was good.
One thing I loved about this film is when the kind of Justice Forever are fighting together, there was a real sense of teamwork between them. It was very much brawling, but they tried the best to kind of work together. And I got a slight sense that just the fight scenes in general really reminded me of Watchmen to a degree.
Yeah, I agree with that. I was also going to say they remind me of the really, really low budget junkyard, if you will, version of the scene in the Avengers where the camera's panning around New York, and it's just like you're seeing how Hawkeye's arrow is helping out this guy, and and it's just like one massive chain. It's like that, but a brawl. You're right.
In in a room that's probably 10 foot by 10 foot, and everyone's panicking and not knowing what the fuck's going on. But yeah, it was a lot of fun. And
Reminds me of, have you seen Semi-Pro?
Yeah.
Like when they go to commercial and Will Ferrell just shouts, "Everybody punch everybody!"
Yeah, it was exactly like that.
I love the fights in this. They're so much fun.
There were, and one thing I loved about the Justice Forever is I was really getting behind them. I was when they were when they broke up that poker game, I was like, "Fuck yeah, Justice Forever, man!"
I could have just watched the whole film, just them breaking up more crimes.
Yeah, it was just so much fun. I got really behind them, and I really you kind of start believing in them as heroes, despite them being this real strange motley crew.
And even with when David's saying, well, when Kick-Ass is going that no one at school knows about our real lives, but him and is it Marty?
Yeah, Marty.
Him and Marty walking down the corridor, just acting like rock stars.
Yeah, and they just think they're badasses.
And people are looking at them going, yeah, you know what? You've got some confidence now, and it's nice to see. I hate it in superhero films where the main character is just a little bitch in his real life.
Yeah, I mean, why the fuck would you take that shit?
At least in this, when things are going well for them, they're happy. But when things get fucked up, and they do get fucked up, that's when they start to. I wouldn't even say whining. If you bad shit that happens in this film,
they just kind of get on with it and deal with it.
Spider-Man.
No, not quite as bad as this. God damn. So yeah, basically the early start of the plot of the film is, it's Justice Forever going about the business, starting up a cohesive superhero movement, and Mindy trying to live the ordinary teenage life, which basically it's kind of like Mean Girls.
Really is.
With a lot more swearing.
Yeah, and a touch of violence later on.
A touch of violence, yes. God damn, some of the bits with, I've heard a lot of people saying that the bits with with Mindy when it is like fucking Mean Girls weren't funny, but I thought they were really fucking funny.
Loved them.
I thought they were really good.
I thought they had a lot of heart.
Yeah, I thought they were really good, and that's one thing you've hit the nail on the head there. Actually, this film as a whole has so much fucking heart. It's unbelievable. It's
more
great.
Heart than the original one.
It does, yeah, it really does.
Really get behind them for doing good, and you feel like. In the first one, they really focus on, we just have to kill the bad guy.
Yeah,
and it's all about fighting. But in this one, they go really far down the line, saying, you just have to make a difference. It doesn't matter what you do.
Well, that's it. The kind of early parts of the superheroes are more about let's make a difference, let's help people. It's only really when the villains come into it that it goes back into
Yeah.
that kind of like, oh, we've got to start killing the villains again.
Right.
And the villains come in the form of Red Mist returning.
Reborn as the motherfucker.
The motherfucker, yeah.
Funnily enough, it's a very similar origin story to Motherfucker Jones in Horrible Bosses. That's all I was thinking.
Oh my god, that's amazing. I never put the two together, but yeah, you're right. So yeah, Chris D'Amico returns. He is basically being kept a prisoner by his mother, who's moved him out to this ridiculously gaudy mansion out in the countryside after his father died in a... This, isn't it? It's fucking like gilded gold staircases and marble everywhere. And basically she's trying to like keep him sheltered after his father died in an accident.
Yeah.
And she's basically...
It's so funny when she's like, it was an accident, he died in a fire, and he's like, it's a fucking bazooka, I was there.
She's completely... And she's just like got a giant fucking jug of...
She's like,
Prozac
why don't you
cocktail.
respect me as a mother? And she's just making like a kid. It's like, he just woke up.
It's fucking class, man. And she's basically destroyed his Red Mist costume. She's basically banned him from having anything to do with like superheroes or supervillains or trying to take revenge. And she's hired... oh shit, man! I had his fucking Luigi, man.
John Leguizamo.
Shit. I completely fucking forgot his name there. But yeah, she's hired him to kind of be this heavy that overlooks him to make sure he keeps out of trouble. And
Love that line when Chris is like, "Just let me out of the house." And he's like, "No," and he's like, "Come on, man, be cool." And he's like, "Your mum doesn't pay me. No, your mum pays me not to be cool."
yeah,
I love that line.
I really like John Leguizamo.
Yeah.
He's not in enough of stuff, and I've seen he does alright. He's done stand up occasionally, and
Has he?
He's not bad. He's not bad at all.
He's going to be Del Boy in the American Only Fools and Horses.
I thought he already had been.
Well, it hasn't come out yet though. I think he's filmed.
Is it really not? God damn, that's been in the works a long time.
Yeah.
But yeah, John Leguizamo is kind of like the heavy, but quite early on, Chris D'Amico...
sorry, it was axed in December.
All
Sorry.
right. well, what a shame. Never mind. But yeah, basically quite early on, Chris D'Amico accidentally kills his mother by electrocuting her in a sunbed, and that basically frees up all the money and frees him up to do what he likes.
He pays John Leguizamo to now be cool.
Yeah, he's basically now pays him to be his little assistant in
Butler.
Yeah, his brother, his Alfred to his evil Bruce Wayne, as he likes to put it. But yeah, he basically decides to become the motherfucker, this kind of bondage-wearing superhero after discovering his mother's little cache of S&M gear. And he basically starts recruiting other supervillains to just take
Well, they're
revenge.
just hired heavies. I doubt they want to be supervillains.
No, but they quite happily go along with it because he pays them. But yeah, they're
them
basically
well.
gangsters and heavies and just generally nasty people.
Like how racist he is when he's giving them names.
Yeah, no, you've got like he gets like a black MMA fighter who is, I can't remember the guy's name, but he's in a shit ton of English stuff.
Is he?
He was in a lot of BBC Three TV programs, and he was also in Psychoville, the League of Gentlemen kind of spin-off. Yeah, he's in a ton of stuff. So when he popped up, I can't remember his name off the top of my head at all, but yeah, he's like this black MMA fighter, and he gets recruited as the Black Death. And then he has like an ex-triad hitman and calls him Genghis Carnage.
Yeah,
and then
a short Jewish guy who's really violent and dangerous that he calls the Tumor.
Yeah, and then his kind of crowning glory of his evil squad. What's his squad called? The Toxic Megacunts?
Yeah.
Well, his crowning glory to that roster is Mother Russia, who is this ex-KGB bodybuilder who was in a gulag till she was kicked out for eating a cellmate.
Yeah,
And...
I've just looked up the black guy, Daniel Kaluuya.
All right, yeah, he's in a ton of stuff.
He's in loads of stuff. He's in Welcome to the Punch, The Fades, Psychoville, as you said, and he was I think he was in the top 3 for the new Doctor Who role as well.
Wow, really?
Yeah,
I could see him being. I could really see him being a Doctor Who assistant.
Yeah.
But not Doctor Who.
Maybe the rumours were wrong. Maybe he'll turn up as an assistant at some point. But I think what people mostly know him from will be Skins.
Oh shit, is he in Skins?
Yeah, he played Posh Kenneth and DJ.
All right, okay, I did not know that. Which is strange because he's probably been in that more than other things, really.
Yeah, he was in 3 series, I think.
Damn. Well, he's in The Fades with your favourite Natalie Dormer.
Oh, I do love Natalie Dormer. Is Natalie Dormer in The Fades?
Yeah, she gets naked quite a lot of it as well.
Right, let's go on to player.com.
It's on Netflix.
I've already wasted my free month.
Oh man, I could probably get you a free trial. So yeah,
Right,
basically, Chris
say
D'Amico.
Mother Russia.
Yeah, Mother Russia, man.
She's a badass.
She's fucking like this. She's like 7 foot of just pure muscle. She's scary.
Yeah, they just like what Black Death and Genghis Carnage just leave her to it normally.
Yeah, I love that way. Like the like they're causing shit, and them two are just hanging back, going, "Hey, let Mother Russia take care of it. She gets more money than us." And like as she's just butchering these cops, Genghis Khan is like, "Damn, she's worth every penny."
Yeah.
But yeah, she's really scary, man. God damn, I would love to know the woman who played her. I can't remember. I'm pretty sure she's like a very famous Russian bodybuilder. From like the Soviet era. But
Yeah.
goddamn, she was she was scary.
Did you get any of the rumors that she was going to be played by Kurt Russell?
No, you told me about this, and I never heard this at all.
I completely misread it. So I got really confused when he just didn't turn up in the film the other day. So I went back and looked at the rumors and stuff, and it's because in the first poster that was released of Mother Russia, she actually looks like Kurt Russell.
But yeah, I'm just having a look here. The woman is called Olga Kurlina.
Yeah, and I was thinking for a second it was Olga Kurylenko when it was on the credits at the beginning.
God damn, it would have been a very different villain if that was the case.
Yeah.
Although Olga Kurylenko can be a bitch. Have you not seen the Michael Fassbender movie, the Roman one?
No, I've not seen that one yet.
She's the
Were
villain
we
in
trying
that.
to remember the name of that on the last thing we did recorded?
Oh, probably, mate. I've got a terrible memory. I feel like I'm getting so fucking old. It's ridiculous.
Just sent you a picture of the Kurt Russell thing.
I'm just having a look here. God damn, she does look like Snake Plissken.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. And so I heard like some of the rumors I was reading is that I thought that the original character was called Mother Russell because she looked like in the comics she looked like Kurt Russell as well. But then they hired Kurt Russell to play her, so they had to change the name. Otherwise it'd be confusing. And all they did was, it was all fake and it confused me, so... Anyway.
I never heard any of that. I'm confused with it now.
Well, it's all a lie. Maybe I made it up. So.
Maybe you did. Who knows?
Centurion.
The Centurion, goddamn. I love that movie as well. I think it's cool. But yeah, you've got the toxic megacons start just really causing shit and becoming like the world's first supervillains. And of course that causes a crackdown on all masks because, the police are quite happy to let superheroes dick about and dole out soup and take down the odd low life. But when people start getting hurt by masked people and they don't know who's good and who's bad, they just basically ban it. Everybody who's wearing a mask gets put up in prison. Yeah. And basically it just kind of spurs off this revenge tale between Kick-Ass and the Motherfucker. Motherfucker wants revenge on Kick-Ass for killing his father, and Kick-Ass wants revenge on him for things that happen in this film. Yeah. And while all this is going on, you've got Hit Girl trying to live a normal life and trying to resist the temptation to be pulled back into the superhero business, despite her really being the only true superhero.
Yeah, she could lift a finger right at the start and prevent a lot of this, really.
She really could have, which is maybe a bit of an oversight on her.
It's a bit unfair because I really liked her storyline, so...
I did, yeah, and you can kind of see where she's coming from. To be honest, the only other person who comes close is probably Colonel Stars and Stripes.
Yeah.
But he's not Big Daddy either. He's a mob hitman, but he's not he's not Batman with a perchance for killing people either, like Big Daddy was.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, overall, I liked Aaron Johnson again reprising Kick-Ass. He's a cool. He's a nice.
I really liked him in this.
Yeah, I did. I liked him in the first one. It's one thing I've got to say about this film. If you like the first one, you're probably going to like this one. It felt like a very, very kind of true sequel. It carried a lot of the same atmosphere. If everything I liked about the first film was pretty much here.
Yeah.
I don't think this one was quite as all out, just fun and quite as I don't know. I just don't think this one is quite as impactful as the first one.
I think that the biggest point that you can make by saying that is that the ending of the film, the final fight scene, even though it's like a load of supers against a load of super villains, it doesn't have anywhere near the sort of excitement of watching Hit Girl fight those goons in that corridor.
Yeah, you're right. And the
final
fight...
set piece just wasn't as up to scratch as it could have been.
Yeah, the thing with the original Kick-Ass, it was completely unexpected, and it just got dafter and dafter, and like loads more fun, and it was just really good. Whereas this one, it does build and build, but it doesn't have that same like impact and that kind of flash that the first one has. I mean, there's nothing like the scene in the first one where he turns up outside the penthouse window in a jetpack.
No, nothing like that.
Nothing even close to that.
Somewhere that guy says, can I take this rocket launcher? And Thingy D'Amico says, yeah, take it.
Oh yeah, he's like, oh man, I'm taking this fucking bazooka. He's like,
Yeah.
you're kidding us?
Yeah. So that's the final fight is more or less just a fist fight in this.
Yeah,
Between everyone.
it's a big fist fight, but
But then I suppose that fits with the rest of the film because it's all about the rest of the films of all brawls and stuff.
yeah, it is. I just think that maybe Jeff Wadlow directed this. Now, I just looking back through his kind of old stuff he's done. This is
Never
easily
Back
his
Down?
Never Back Down. Terrible.
Good fights though.
Is that? I can't remember. I think I might have seen. It's one of those movies I think I might have seen bits of when it's been
Yeah.
on telly, but. I always get it confused with the Channing Tatum early effort. Was it called Fighting? And then,
I always get them confused with Step Up. When someone said, do you want to watch Never Back Down? I was like, why the fuck would I want to watch a dancing film?
Hey man, Step Up was on the other night, and I didn't watch it.
I thought you were going to defend it there.
No, I'm not going to defend Step Up. No, not tonight. But
I think that Jeff Ludlow's done a great job with this.
this is easily his best film, and as I say, he's carried on what Matthew Vaughn started in the first film. I just don't think he has that flair that Matthew Vaughn did. And while Matthew Vaughn was able to juggle all the different aspects of the original Kick-Ass, I don't think Jeff Wadlow does it quite as well. And I think he has the added task that there's probably even more in this film to juggle than the original.
Yeah, probably. The final fight is so many characters involved. It would be hard to give it the spectacle that the first one had because you just had for most of that final bit, it's only Hit Girl involved.
Yeah.
Whereas in this, you've literally got everyone. Like in the first one, Kick-Ass doesn't turn up until like 3/4 of the way through the final bit.
Well, that's it. Whereas here, it's just one crazy fight. But
That's my only criticism of this film, though. The final battle just falls a touch flat for me. That's my only criticism.
I think, while I don't think this film is as good as the first, I still had a great time with this movie. I was smiling all the way through. As I say, when the Justice Forever bits were kind of going in full swing, I was really getting behind them, just really happy watching them. It was a lot of fun.
It took me about 12 hours to get to this point, but I think I enjoyed this one more than the original. But I'm going to go and watch the original when we finish recording this, and I'll update. But I just thought this one had so much more heart, and I just loved the characters more in this one.
No,
I loved Hit Girl's journey, especially at the end when they start discussing loftier sort of ideas about what superheroes should be. Because I think it's a really bold thing. Essentially, at the end of the film, they say that to be a superhero, you don't need to be a superhero. You don't need a mask. You just have to.
You need to be a real hero.
Just be a real hero. And I thought that's a really brave thing for a superhero film to say.
I think one thing with this film is, as much as I really liked Chloe Moretz's bits where she was just Mindy McCready rather than Hit Girl trying to act normal and get through high school and the minefield that is. One thing that this film is, with her being older now when she is Hit Girl, it doesn't have the same effect as when she was like 4'2" and young and swearing her head off, and she's nowhere near as violent in this film as she was in the first one, and that kind of loses the impact of her because that's what Hit Girl was all about. While I think her drama bits are much better in this film, I think Hit Girl as an whole isn't as effective, and I think she's not as utilized as much as well because she is simply Mindy McCready for vast swathes of this movie. Yeah. Overall, though, I think this film was great. I had a really good time with it. I think it's a worthy successor to the first film. And while I don't think we'll get a third one, despite a third Kick-Ass book in the works, I
hope we do, though.
We do.
I'm sure that Matthew Vaughn will find a way to make it.
I don't know, man, because he's a band. I don't.
He still produced this one, though.
Yeah, he still produced this, but he's not directing it. He had nothing to do with the writing of this one. He's kind of moved on. He moved on from this to do X-Men First Class, and he's then moved on from X-Men First Class to do his Spy.
Yeah, Secret
Service movie.
He's also a Mark Millar comic.
Which, he'll probably do one of and then walk away from that. And I don't know, man. I don't think this will see a third one. But that's all right, because the way they changed this from the book, it ends quite happily here in this movie. And it could round it off as just a two-part story. and it wouldn't be a bad thing at all. So yeah, overall, I really had a good time with this film. I think if you liked the first one, you'll like this. There's loads to like. It's funny. It's there's plenty of stuff going on. The characters are endearing, and they develop over the course of this film. So yeah, I would honestly give this. I don't want to give it I would give this an A minus, but I think that's I think that's fair.
Well, I would give it a gold star. So do you want to round off with an A? I
Jeez,
love this.
You really would give it a gold star.
Yeah.
God damn, man. I am really, really shocked at that. But yeah, sure, we'll round off at an A.
Before we sign off, do you want to talk a bit about Jim Carrey's hate and violence thing?
Yeah, there's actually two things. Right, there's actually another thing as well, right? Lindsay Fontanesca, I want to get out there first, right? I like Lindsay Fontanesca. I think she's
a lovely lady.
She's a lovely lady. But she was in this all of like 10 seconds.
Yeah, and she was a fucking cunt.
Yeah, she was a bitch, man. Jesus Christ. And
Nothing like I remember her from the original one. We
Not
made
at
her
all.
like Hottie of the Month, I'm sure, back in the day.
Probably, man. She, goddamn, I really like Lindsay Fontanesca. I mean, she's in Hot Tub Time Machine, man, with Bal Guy.
Oh yeah.
How can you not like her? But she's in this all of 10 seconds now. I was thinking, Jesus Christ, why did they even bother having her in here? Because she is in the book or the comic or whatever.
Yeah,
you want to
she's
call
the
it.
main character in the comic.
She's still, well, is she still with Dave? Because I thought in the book that they didn't get together, but I don't know. She's still a main character or in the book quite heavily. And shit
Even if they're not
happens
together
to
in the
her.
book, she's still David's love interest, so we might just be pining over her.
Yeah, maybe, but I think there's a lot of her bits in this. The lot of her bits from the book are given to Night Bitch, who's another hero in Justice Forever that Kick-Ass has a bit of a relationship with.
Fairly attractive as well,
Yes.
in a sort of crazy way.
Yeah.
She's a lot hotter when she's in her slutty costume.
But yeah, I think the reason Lindsay Fontanesca wasn't in this is because she's actually doing Nikita still,
Yeah.
the TV series, and she just couldn't fit Kick-Ass in.
I think that's bollocks.
I think it's bullshit that happened, but I think that's the reason why.
I think that you should have some sort of, mind you, Matt Vaughn fucked off, but I think you should have some like responsibility to come back in a bigger way for something that, because this was, put her in Hot Tub Time Machine. Did it the first Kick-Ass?
I don't know.
Which one
Maybe.
came out first? But
She
I
was
just
in-
feel like she should have been in this more.
Well, I don't think
I
it's
like
the
how her
film.
lines were given to the other girl because it made it more interesting to me.
Yeah, I don't think the film was hurt because
No.
of her absence, but it was a strange thing to see. And as I say, I think it was for commitments elsewhere, which is a shame because I think that Kick-Ass is infinitely more interesting than Nikita, which is like a remake of a remake. It's a remake of a remake done for TV. So I don't know, but yeah, she seems perfectly happy. But yeah, Jim Carrey though. Now Jim Carrey is one of the highlights of this movie.
Yeah.
And he is pretty much boycotted this film. He has nothing to do with it. He's not doing any promotional for it. And it's all in the name of his anti-violence kind of stint he's on at the moment. Now, I think it's bullshit because the kind of the catalyst for this reaction to it is that the Sandy Hook shootings, which happened a while ago.
Yeah.
And if anything, this film, the heroes, especially the hero he plays, is like completely against gun violence.
I think the only person that uses a gun that's not a villain is Hit Girl.
Yeah.
She really only uses a gun when she has nothing else.
She takes it off a bad guy.
Yeah. And what's really odd, not just the stance that the good characters take, but the overall level of violence of this film, I don't think it's anywhere near what I was expecting because of his reaction. Also, I don't think it's as violent as the first one.
Oh, no, nowhere near. No,
I think his response, even though I hadn't seen the film, I thought he was like overly exaggerating the level of violence. But now I've seen it, it's nowhere near anything you should be complaining about.
No, especially, I don't know, I don't know, man. I just think he's just going a bit over the top of his reaction. And it's a shame because he is really good in this film. He's almost unrecognizable as Colonel Stars and Stripes. He's really, really cool. If anything, I think the film could have done more with him because he's not in it a tremendous amount.
Yeah.
Which is a shame, but yeah, it is a shame that he's kind of boycotted it because this is a really cool performance of him, and
One of my favourite Jim Carrey performance in a long time.
Yeah, it's great, man, and Jim Carrey in his later career has proven that he's a really good actor rather than just a kind of rubber-faced silly man, and this was a kind of almost a nice balance of the two.
Yeah, he did both.
And I wouldn't even say he's a silly man in this, but he certainly has got an element of comic relief.
Yeah.
just because he's so kind of casual about all this like really violent
Yeah.
shit and how cool he is. And, you know, he used to be a mob.
Kind of
mob
the opposite
enforcer.
of being a silly man. It's like he's remaining so calm while silly stuff's happening. It
Yeah.
makes him seem silly, but in reality, he's just not reacting to stuff.
Yeah, but yeah, it's a bit of a strange one, which is a shame because Kick-Ass 2 is good, is really good.
What's the burning?
There's no room for punks in suits. Just real heroes who can really kick ass.
Game on, cocksuckers!
Who the hell are you?
We're the good guys.
You're the dead guys. Franz, wieder. Ow! Jesus!
Yeah, there's a dog on your balls.